Hi guys, we are the marvelous FCPAs, and today we're going to discuss the Chapter 11 PFRS for small and medium-sized entities, so let's start. Only the provision of PFRS for SMEs that relate to financial accounting topics are discussed in this chapter. Yung hindi madidiscuss, yun ay madidiscuss sa Part 1 and 2 ng AFAR. The purpose of PFRS for SME was develop a separate standalone standard. Standalone standard, hindi siya pwede pakialaman ng full at ng SME, and intended to apply the general purpose financial statements of small and medium-sized entities. General purpose financial statements, ito ay provided for the wide range of users. Kahit ikaw ay qualify as PFRS for SME, you can also allow to use full PFRS. Authority of the PFRS for SME based on set guideline. The PFRS for SME shall be applied by corporations that A. Have total assets of between 3 million to 350 million or total liability of between 3 million to 250 million. B. That is not required to file FS under SRC Rule 68.1. C. Hindi ka nagpaplano na pumasok sa public market. D. That is not a holder of secondary license issued by a regulatory agency such as bank. E. At hindi ka public utility. Microentities, sila yung may total assets or liability na below 3 million. Pwede yung piliin yung PFRS for SME or full. Other acceptable basis of accounting microentities may use any of the following: income taxes basis of accounting or cash basis accounting. Bakit inalaw ka mag-cash basis accounting? Samantalang pag full PFRS, you are required to use accrual basis. Kasi pag maliit na entities, hindi naman masyado namamatter sa kanila yung receivable or payables. Normally, hindi naman sila nagpapautang or umuutang. Kung nagpapautang o umuutang, okay lang gamitin mo yung modified accrual. Minsan accrual, minsan cash basis. Tawag doon ay income tax basis of accounting. Transition to PFRS for SME. Dito ikaw yung first adopter ng PFRS for SME. This year, halimbawa magka-qualify ka for PFRS for SME. Ang magiging basis dito ay yung nakaraang audited financial statements. Transition from PFRS for SME entities ceasing to qualify as SME shall adopt full PFRS unless they qualify as microentities. Halimbawa, na-meet mo yung criteria for exemption ng PFRS for SME, ibig sabihin ceasing, titigil na yung qualification mo sa SME at pag nangyari yun, need mo na mag-adopt ng full PFRS. Transition period for breaches of size criteria. Pag sa current year, an SME ay tumigil na to qualify as an SME dahil ito ay nag-exceed or fall below of the size of criteria, an entity may transition sa full PFRS or another acceptable accounting basis in the next accounting period. To warrant a change in financial reporting framework, the increase or decrease in the size of criteria must be judged to be significant and continuing. As a general rule, a change of 20% or more of total assets or liability would be considered significant. Overview of PFRS for SME. Most of the concepts included in the PFRS for SME are similar with the concepts provided in the full PFRS. Bakit? Kasi the PFRS for SME is just a simplification of full PFRS. The purpose of PFRS for SME is to disregard those are not necessary for decision-making purpose. Financial position. Number 1, non-presentation of additional balance sheet. Under kay full PFRS, required kang gumawa ng another balance sheet or the third balance sheet at the beginning at the earliest comparative period kung na-meet mo yung mga criteria. A. Kapag nagkaroon ka ng changes sa accounting policy, retrospectively, it means being conscious if what happened previously or applying something new to past events. B. Kapag meron retrospective restatement na ibig sabihin is correcting the recognition, measurement, and disclosure of amounts of elements of financial statements as if a prior error had never occurred. The next is when it makes reclassification adjustment. Under SME, hindi ka ire-required na mag-prepare ng third balance sheet. Ang ire-required lang kapag may adjustment sa retained earnings, ang ire-required lang is yung earliest comparative period lang. No need to prepare a third column or third balance sheet. Number 2, option not to present a statement of comprehensive income. Under full PFRS, sabi ng past 1, kapag magpe-prepare ka ng statement of comprehensive income, may dalawang way ka na pwede mong gawin. First is yung single statement kung saan magkasama si income statement at si other comprehensive income. Pwede rin magkahiwalay sila, which is the two statement presentation. Meron kang statement of profit or loss and meron kang statement of comprehensive income. The main purpose for this is to understand it clearly. Businesses prepare these two ways to know how much is their total revenue in operating their business. Under PFRS for SME, hindi ka nila nire-require mag-prepare ng comprehensive income, lalo na kung wala ka naman talagang ganon, kung wala ka namang income or loss sa other comprehensive source. 3. Recognition of revenue from contracts with customer. Under full PFRS requires the application of 5 steps. First, identify the contracts with customer. Second, identify the performance obligations. Third, determine the transaction price. Fourth, allocate the transaction price. Fifth, recognize revenue. Under PFRS for SME, nire-require niya lang is yung magkaroon ng transfer of significant risk and reward. Components of other comprehensive income. Under full PFRS, enumerate ni Pass 1 yung mga following components of OCI. Under PFRS for SME, same lang sila sa full PFRS. Those components are still there except for number 2, which is the unrealized gains and losses on changes in fair values of investment in equity instrument measured at fair value through FVOCI. Because FVOCI is not included for PFRS for SME, this is not available under PFRS. Option not to present a statement of changes in equity. Option to present a statement of income and retained earning. Under full PFRS, if you're preparing the full set of financial statement, hindi pwedeng pagsamaan sa changes in equity and presentation of income and retained earnings. You need to present it separately. PAS 1 does not include an option to present a statement of income and retained earnings. Wala siyang ganong option. While sa PFRS for SME, they are giving you a choice to present it together. Allows the entity to omit the statement of changes in equity in lieu thereof. Kapalit daw is to present a single statement of income and retained earnings. If the only changes to equity during the period, ang nagbago lang yung equity mo sa pamamagitan lang nitong 4. Kapag nagkaroon ka ng income or ng loss, nagbayad ka ng dividends, nagkaroon ka ng correction of prior period error, and nag-change ka ng accounting policy. Hindi kasama doon ang transactions such as issuance of shares, acquisition of treasury shares, and the like. It means kapag may transaction ka katulad ng mga nabanggit, huwag na pagsamahan yung presentation ng income and retained earnings dahil magulo. Non-current asset held for sale. Under PFRS 5, non-current asset held for sale, tinitreat siya as inventory dahil need mo siyang isell talaga. Sabi din dito, if the carrying amount will be recovered principally through a sale transaction rather than through continuing use, naghahanap ka talaga ng buyer. Property dividends in the form of non-current assets are classified as held for distribution to owners if the asset's quality under the criteria set forth under PFRS 5. While sa PFRS for SME, no classification are provided. Non-disclosure of operating segment information and earnings per share. Ito usually ginagawa siya sa mga publicly listed company. Bakit may operating segment sila? Dahil malalaki silang kumpanya. Segmented ang kanilang operation. Nire-require din sila mag-present ng EPS na nilalagay sa ibaba ng income statement para makita ng mga investor kung magkano ang kanilang earnings per share. Listed entities and those in the process of enlisting their securities for the purpose of trading in the public market, they need to disclose segment information in their notes and earnings per share on their statement of comprehensive income. Under PFRS for SME does not apply to listed entities and does not require disclosure. Classification of financial instrument. Under PAS 34, pwede mag-prepare ng dalawa, full or complete financial statement o yung tinatawag na condensed financial statement. Pag sinabi mong condensed, yung mga importante ang kailangan makita dun. Interim financial reporting provides guidance in the preparation of condensed financial statements. May guidance ka kapag condensed financial statement ang gagawin mo at hindi complete set ng financial statement. But under PFRS for SME, walang ganong provision kasi simple na lang ang financial statement mo kung ikaw ay SME lang. Classification of financial instrument. Under full PFRS, dalawa yung sinusunod natin dyan, PAS 39 at PFRS 9. Before, 4 yan, pero ngayon ginawa na lang dalawa. financial instrument at fair value and financial instrument at amortized cost on the basis of both entities' business model and contractual cash flow characteristic of the financial instrument. Yung letter A na fair value, dalawa yan, fair value through profit or loss and fair value through OCI. Yung fair value through profit or loss, yun yung mga bagong term para sa trading securities. Yung OCI naman, yung tinatawag ngayon sa available for sale securities, pareho pa rin ang purpose. Yung amortized cost naman, normally ang old term sa kanya ay held to maturity investment. Hinahawakan mo daw siya until mag-mature at normally yung mga investment na held to maturity ay mga bonds kasi ang bonds ay may contractual period na at least 5 to 10 years long term. PFRS for SME, there is two classification, basic or non-basic. Basic financial instrument refer to non-complex financial instrument. Non-complex, ito yung mga investment halimbawa sa equity or investment. Yung basic talaga ay amortized cost model lang ang ginagamit. Pero kung meron kang investment sa may fair value, pwede mong i-measure fair value through profit or loss pero hindi ka magkakaroon ng investment through OCI. Choice of accounting policy on insolvent in associate. If you have an investment that is more than 20% up to 50% of one corporation, halimbawa ako merong investment kay Corporation B, up to 50%, meron ako tinatawag na investment in associate. At dahil associate ko siya, meron akong significant influence in decision making of the company. At the same time, meron akong 50% investment at meron akong 50% income or share sa income ni Corporation B. If ito ay nag-increase ng 50%, ang tawag na doon investment in subsidiary. Under PAS 28, you are required to use equity method. In PFRS for SME, investment in associate are accounted for using one of the following: cost model, equity model, fair value model. Implicit goodwill on acquisition. Example, you are buying Corporation B and the true price or the net value is 100 million, but you paid 150 million. The difference is 50 million. The 50 million ang tinatawag natin goodwill. There is no separate accounting report for the implicit goodwill. So, kung magkano yung binayaran mo, yun yung value niya talaga kung magkano mo binayaran sa kanya. Nor separate equipment testing of the goodwill is permitted. Dito hindi kayo na-allow na mag-amortize o magkaroon ng separate impairment. Itetest mo kung impairment yung goodwill. At dahil hindi naman separate ang goodwill under full PFRS, wala kang gagawing impairment testing. For PFRS for SME, isa-separate mo ang goodwill tapos i-amortize mo siya over estimated useful life. Ang goodwill kasi isa tong company name na binabayaran mo talaga or brand name like Lacoste, kaya sila mahal talaga. Different reporting periods, non-coterminous year-end. Under full PFRS, under PAS 28, the difference between the end of the reporting period of the associate and that of the investor shall not exceed 3 months. But for PFRS for SME ay walang ganong provision. Agriculture PAS 41, under agriculture, nandito yung biological assets at agricultural produce. Nagkaroon ng amendments ang PAS 41. Sabi niya yung mga bearer plants shall not classified under biological asset. So, i-exclude natin siya at magiging part ng PPE under PAS 16. Bakit kinalassify as PPE? Kasi pinapakinabangan natin yung mga bearer plants. Pinagkakakitaan natin siya. Yung mga bearer plants na namumunga at yung bunga nila ay binibenta natin. So, may kita tayo. Under PFRS for SME, sinaseparate ang bearer plants walang treatment. Bearer plants under PFRS for SME is still classified as biological asset. Measurement ng PAS 41, biological assets are measured at fair value less cost to sell. Ano yung fair value less cost to sell? Kung magkano mo siya mabibili sa market, less yung mga gastos sa pagbenta sa kanya. Kung impractical or impossible na or hindi ma-determine, cost less accumulated depreciation and accumulated impairment losses. But for PFRS for SME, we should measure biological asset on initial recognition fair value less cost to sell only when FV is readily determinable without undue cost or effort. A biological asset whose fair value is not readily determinable, pwede tayong gumamit ng costless at any accumulated depreciation and any accumulated impairment losses. Sa full PFRS, ang priority talaga is FD less cost to sell. PFRS for SME, initial FD less cost to sell as long as kayang i-determine yung FD without undue cost or effort. Intangible assets other than goodwill. Under full PFRS, meron tayong research and development cost. Automatic ang treatment sa research cost ay expense, pero ang development cost pwedeng mag-qualify at capitalized expenditure. Under PFRS for SME, expense outright lahat ang R&D pareho. PFRS for SME does not provide conditions for the capitalization of development cost. Kaya dapat sa problem, alam natin kung ano ginagamit ng company, kung full PFRS or PFRS for SME. Amortization of intangible asset. Under PAS 38, only intangible asset with finite useful life are amortized. Ano ibig sabihin ng finite useful life? May buhay. Yung panahon na pakikinabangan lang natin siya, tulad ng franchise, copyright. Pero kung may indefinite useful life, hindi natin ma-determine kung hanggang kailan magbibigay ng benefit. Hindi required na i-amortize siya, pero itetest siya for impairment at least annually. Under PFRS for SME, all intangible assets shall be considered to have finite useful life. So, walang indefinite, lahat may finite useful life. The useful life of an intangible asset shall not exceed its legal life. If the useful life of the intangible asset cannot be established reliably, the life shall be determined based on management best estimate but shall not exceed 10 years. Hindi ma-determine, bahala na yung management. Annual review of depreciation, amortization method, useful life, and residual value. PAS 1638 reports an entity to review at least at each financial year end. So, nire-require under full PFRS, kailangan i-review if there are changes. Saka dapat tama yung mga method na ginagamit natin. Under PFRS for SME, re-review lang pag mayroong indicator na nagbabago talaga significantly yung mga amount. Amortization of goodwill arising from business combination. Business combination, nag-combine dalawang corporation. May acquisition ng corporation. Under PAS 36, hindi ina-amortize ang goodwill. Pero itetest siya for impairment kasi baka mas mababa yung value niya sa market kasi sa nakalibre sa'yo. Under PFRS for SME, after initial recognition, the acquirer, yung bumili, shall measure goodwill acquired in a business combination at cost less accumulated amortization, accumulated impairment losses. Ang goodwill, isa sa mga intangible asset at ang intangible asset dinadetermine na merong finite useful life lang siya. So, kailangan siyang i-amortize at itest for impairment. Under full PFRS, walang ginagawang amortization but tinetest annually for impairment. Pero sa PFRS for SME, ina-amortize at tinetest din. Under PAS 20, ang government grants ay related to asset o income. Nire-recognize itong income depende sa periods ng pagbigay ng grants. Kung given na ang time at disbursement date ng grant, ay pwede na itong i-record sa cost at recognition date nito. Habang sa PFRS for SME, ang grants ay hindi nire-recognize as income. Kailangan mo na itong ma-meet ang performance condition. Maaaring reward sa service o activity na ginawa para sa grant na ito. Ang grants na natanggap bago ang sinasabing performance condition ay i-recognize bilang liability. Under PAS 20 on measurement of grants according sa PFRS, ang monetary grants ay sinusukat based sa amount na na-receive na cash, fair value ng receivable amount, carrying amount kung loan given by the government, at discount based naman kung below market rate ang grant. Kung non-monetary naman ay sa fair value ng non-monetary asset at nominal amount plus direct cost para sa asset. Habang sa PFRS ng SME ay ang government grant ay minimeasure lang sa fair value ng asset received or receivable lang. No other alternatives unlike full PFRS. On borrowing cost core principle, under PAS 23, borrowing costs form part of the cost of the asset. Yung expenses mo to acquire a loan ay nagiging karagdagang asset, hindi kagaya ng normal borrowing cost expenses like interest and other expenses. Habang sa PFRS for SME, ang borrowing cost ay nire-recognize as expense sa period they are incurred. Under PAS 36 on impairment of asset, full PFRS states that cash flow projection or forecast ng cash flow ng isang entity ay may maximum na 5 years lamang ang coverage. Habang sa PFRS for SME, no time limit o coverage ang cash flow projection at maaari nilang i-extend ito depende sa entity. PAS 19 Employee Benefits, full PFRS states that defined contribution plans ay minimeasure sa undiscounted basis. Nire-recognize ito sa period kung kailan sila nag-render ng service kung saan sila ay discounted. Habang sa PFRS for SME, ang defined contribution plan ay hindi dapat discounted. Measurement of defined benefit liability. PAS 19 requires the use of projected unit credit method o PUC, kung saan ang total pension cost ay dinidivide sa total length ng service ng employee at kinocompensate ito yearly. Habang sa PFRS for SME, ang PUC ay ginagamit lamang if the entity needs the information or cost upon the benefit. A lease is an agreement between a property owner and another party who wants to use their asset. The two parties come to a contractual consensus on what the owner will receive in exchange for the outside party to use their property or asset. For SME naman, yung account for leases na ginagamit nila is either financial lease or operating lease. Sa sale and leaseback, kapag na-determine daw ng seller, lessee, and yung buyer or lessor, yung sale na nag-fall under PFRS 15, which is yung revenue from contract with customer, qualified yun as a sale. So, pwedeng i-record as a sale. Pero kapag hindi naman nag-qualify under PFRS 15, sabi nun, kailangan nila i-account as a sale and leaseback as a financing transaction. Sa SME naman, kapag ang transaction or sale nagresulta raw sa financial lease, yung seller, lessee, i-defer niya yung gain at i-amortize sa lease term, pag loss naman i-recognize agad. Sa reporting ng dividends, parehas lang yung PFRS at SME. Ang nagdagdag lang sa SME, yung nagkaroon sila ng karagdagang option to present the dividends as a segregated components of retained earnings sa endang reporting period. Yung key management personnel compensation sa full PFRS, kailangan nila mag-disclose dun sa 5 categories na binigay, yung A, B, C, D, E. Sa SME naman, pangkalahatan na. Thank you.